Now, there is a big question on everybody's mouth. It's on my lips, it's on your lips, and it's even on the lips of the person seated next to you. What is that? Have you ever wondered why children bred and raised in the house of God? Now, to be very much specific, children of pastors, reverends, and the rest, why they, you know, digress, or should I say, wander off the path of righteousness, the path of holiness. Why is it that all of a sudden they just upped and left, leaving the foundation that has been built already for them? Why is this so? They rebel the most. Now, that will be the question we'll be discussing in this episode. Born in church and lost in the world. Born in church and lost in the world. Now, I have with me a man, a man of God, yeah, who has years of experience, many years of experience, even before I was born. Now, he is the founder of Water of Bethesda Church International, aka House of Macy Arena. He is in the person of Reverend Elijah NCE Nkaro. Sir, you're welcome.
Thank
How are
you.
you feeling, sir?
Very well.
What do you think about the topic before we start proper?
Well, it's a pressing need
Yeah, it
and
is. It
it
is.
is worth giving attention to.
Yeah, it is. So, as you can listen, as you can hear from the mouth of our honorable guest here, it is a pressing need. And I want you to stay locked in, stay concentrated as we unpack and understand why this is happening, especially in the Christendom. Stay locked in. All right, sir. Welcome back. It's really an honor to have you here today. And this topic, like we said earlier, is a pressing topic. Now,
Yes.
let's first off, why is there a certain level of pressure of perfection? Hmm? Wanted, like it's something that the society expects from children of ministers.
Well, from what it is, I know every child of God or a child of a minister,
Mm.
the world is expecting so much from them.
So why is it so?
And the reason is because of what their father represents or their mother. Because the word pastor is not just a mere word, it's nurturing.
Not sure.
You know, as a pastor, you are a servant of the congregation you are minding.
Mm.
And as a servant, people expect humility from you. And if you're humble and exhibit righteousness, automatically the respect that is accorded to you will also reflect to your children. And that respect, that honor that the name pastor carries is the reason why people expect the children of the pastors to be better,
Hmm.
to represent what their father or their parents carries.
Isn't that too much pressure? Hmm? These
It,
people just came into the world. They never asked of the family they should be born into, right? So expecting such high level of pressure on them, like I don't know, you should be like your father. These people have their own personality. So why is it so? Like, why? Can't they live their own life?
well, it should be so.
Thank you.
My father was a prophet,
Okay.
Prophet Philip Nkaro. God used him mightily. while I grew up with my father, I was always close to him because I wanted to know how God used him. At the time, I have to fit into that imagination.
So it was no pressure at all. You
It
just
was not
wanted to.
pressure
Okay.
because I love the work he do, and I wish to represent him, which I am doing today. He's late, but I'm there doing it. I started the work when I was very young. You know, I was not with my father at the time I left him. I have to visit states and places that even if there was no phone, my parents were not there to know where I was. They can only send messages if you hear the voice of my son, tell him that we are still in need of him.
Wow.
You know, so people expected that if you are a bricklayer
Mm.
and you've used it to achieve something, somebody among your children should be able to represent it. Even better, if you are a vulcanizer and the day you are sick, and that is the only way of livelihood, and there is none of your children that can do that work and bring money home, it's a disgrace. You've not achieved anything. Therefore, you also give what you have because it is impactful. So people expect the children of the pastors to do better or to be like their fathers or their parents. It is not, if you are a wrong pastor, nobody expects your children to be like you. You also hear people say, don't be like your father or don't be like your mother.
Okay. Okay.
So it is not wrong for people to expect the children of the pastors to be up and doing. It's not wrong. And you don't even need people to tell you to do it. Let's assume your father owns a big company, and then you are only son or only daughter. Peradventure, you are not able to know things about that company. Do you think outsiders can represent it very well? So in this,
What if in this case outsiders would do far more better than the child in question?
yet you need to be there to know. When you are absent from what you're supposed to know, automatically that person is a failure.
Sir, this worked out for you in your own case, whereby your dad was a prophet, and you, it was solemnly you wanted to follow his footsteps. But some others, that pressure is on them. Like, is this really a must for it to happen?
Though
No.
it's not a must, the
But
reason is I have the calling of God.
okay, but some don't have the calling.
Some
You
don't
just, my father
have,
is this. Let me do it.
yes, some don't have that calling. But no matter how it is, now this work that your father is doing, you need to know it at least to a bit. You need to represent it. Okay, when I started the work, the church I am into, I did not start with anybody. I wasn't married then. I started single-handedly.
Wow.
I was going to kindred to borrow seeds. I spoke to those seeds. I give them message. Whenever I come, I will tell those seeds, I see people seated on you. Bring more members when you're coming next Sunday. Next Sunday, I will go to other kindred and get more seeds representing the word I spoke. But I had my foundation from the root of godly service from my father and my mother. If they were not godly men, I would have also directly or indirectly become an idol worshiper.
Okay.
But because there is a way they have followed that is suitable, which every pastor's or every believer, apart from saying a pastor's child, every believer is a preacher of the gospel. God has given us that power to declare the word. So much is expected from the pastor's children to represent whom their parents are. How do you see it if you are a pastor and peradventure you're supposed to do an opening prayer, preach when you have children? One of your children should be able to do the opening prayer if the person who does it is not available. How will it be if the members were not available? Your children are there and they cannot do anything. It means there is no godly training.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. But we have talked a lot about foundation right now.
Yes.
Now, let's move further. This question, born in church and lost in the world. So, what are the common reasons why children of the pastors rebel or drift from the church?
One of the reasons is that lack of proper inputs from the pastor to the children. Number one, you have to make your children know that this is part of them. Because, just like I said earlier, whatever you know how to do very well, you can equally allow your children to know it. It is expedient for them to know it, even if it may not be what they have to survive with, but they have to know it. There are pastors that work in oil companies,
Yes.
their children. Do you know that there are pastors who started very little in maybe local places? Their children came up, had education, former secular school, and then grew up to own bigger ministries and still do their business. Why? Because they have foundation. The foundation of God can never be broken. Do you understand?
Yeah.
If you have a godly foundation, you can't tear it apart. Directly or indirectly, you just find yourself, fix yourself into it. That is just the nature. Yes, that's the nature.
The reason, one of the reasons is that the foundation is shaky.
Yes.
That's why they digress.
Yes.
So, what other reasons?
One or another reason. There are so many reasons. Like some of pastors' children are also afraid
Afraid of what?
meeting up the demands of people, what they expected.
So that's also to say that there is pressure from people outside.
There's so much pressure. Because when I was little, when I was not a pastor, people were already calling me pastor. So it's a pressure. And I have to try as much as I can to meet up with that demand. They were calling me pastor. They made me to be so afraid of coming close to girls. They made me to feel that if I touch a girl, she could take in, and I would disappoint myself, disappoint the church, and disappoint my parents. As a result of that, I have to avoid anything called girlfriend. I can sleep with you on the same bed, but I won't feel you are anything different from me. So fear of not disappointing people. Another thing is amongst your mates, there is a way your mates look at you. I had a friend who was a smoker while we were coming up.
Yeah.
Because of the pattern he had found in me, not because I was a pastor. We were in the same church. But anytime he want to smoke, he will tell me, you want to go to toilet. And he will avoid me.
But you're in the same church.
Yet, we're in the same church. My father is a leader. His father was a leader also. But he will not, he was looking at it that I have a better background more than him. Why? My father was a prophet. Even if his father was an evangelist, what happened? His father was building for him to become, maybe to own a shop, maybe in Lagos or in Owerri, where he could be selling car parts.
Yeah.
My father was building me to become a minister and represent God, because the Bible said, which of course my father had in mind, that if I can do the work of God, that God will feed me well, and which God is feeding me. But his father was not able to make him know that God can feed him if he do his work.
Okay.
So he made him to understand that there is more better life in the secular world than in the ministry, where maybe one of the days I joined boss
Mm.
when 10 naira and 20 naira was raining. And then I
Was still
paid
a
the
thing.
driver with 10 naira. And he called me and said, "Excuse me, sir, are you a pastor in the village?" I felt embarrassed. But I couldn't deny it. That's who I am.
Yeah.
The ministry is in a village. But I know that the God of the mountain is the God of the villa. Do you understand? The God of the mountain is the God of the valley. So these fears that was built in the life of pastors' children made they didn't want to offend anybody. They just want to live a pattern that will make people happy, whether it suit them or not.
Or not.
But it is not the best pattern of life. Sometimes the pastors are overprotective. You allow your children to have a secular knowledge.
That is why rebellion comes in. With
Yes.
strict upbringing,
You
every
see,
time you are strict on your child, then they rebel.
allow these children to mix with their mates. It will develop their knowledge. Why you keep talking to them in the home? How? Look at what happened in the scripture, where the mother of Moses gave birth to him, and there was an order to kill all the male children. Moses was placed on a basket on the ocean. Miriam was by the side monitoring.
Mm.
The daughter of Pharaoh came, and Miriam said, "Do you need somebody to nurture this child?" He said, "Yes." Why the mother of Moses took him and was nurturing him for the daughter of Pharaoh,
Mm.
she was equally telling Moses,
That
"We are in Egypt, but we are not Egyptians.
yeah.
You are not an Egyptian, you are an Israelite." You know, they gave him opportunity to mingle with Egyptians. He knew the patterns of the Egyptians and yet the pattern of the Israelites, which gave him power to know what to do at every given time.
Mm.
So when you restrict your children from knowing what they need to know secularly, just like, let me use a paraphrase of pattern of marriage. You don't want them to know anything about sex. You don't have time to teach them, if you do this is wrong, if you follow this pattern is right. Don't mix with this. Anytime something like this come up, this is the result. And you want them to just know it. They may not know it. As a result of that, they may not tell you the experience when they have it on the road. They will say, "My mother didn't teach me this. Since somebody has given me this knowledge, let me employ it and know if it could help me." Before you know it, you've lost that child because you are being over. I know somebody when I was in Port Harcourt refinery, that man was there. He never allowed his children to come out. They didn't go to school like others. They hired teachers to teach them at home. But the day the daughter grew up, and eventually, when nobody was around, they had a visitor who is a male child. And because she felt something after the war, that young man may have dropped words which she never heard before. If she had gone to maybe being in secular school or a school where there are boys and girls, she may have heard those things and see it as nothing. But that time, the young man dropped it in her ears. She saw it as strange, practice it. And before you know it, in her father's house, she took him.
Wow.
Automatically, the problem was she didn't even know where the young man came from. And she had to give birth to the child there, not
Wow.
knowing the father.
Wow. This is
You know,
really
so
wonderful.
being overprotective creates so much fear in the heart of our children because they don't want to offend us. Make them know that it's not about offending us, it's about knowing what is right to know.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Let's quickly go on a short break. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. All right, viewers, welcome back from that very short break. Now, I'm still in here in the studio with Reverend Elijah, and in the first half of the episode, he has told us a lot. He has shared with us a lot about Christianity, the foundation about the children, and why parents should keep their children close. All right. So now we are moving on. And moving on, I have this question to ask her. So why is it that children of, okay, let's put it on the general terms, children of the ministers, they find it difficult to confide in their parents? They battle loneliness, depression, and the rest, but they don't have anybody to talk to. Looking, like you said off camera, there was something you mentioned that children see their parents and the rest of them, but then they feel like the burden is much on them. So why should I add to it? Why is it so? Why don't they open up to their parents? Is it because their parents are strict and will not expect them to say such a thing, you know?
Thank you so much. From my little experience on this, I feel that it depends on parents. You know, you raise your children the way that is best.
Mm.
Give them the opportunity to air out when there is distress or burden in their hearts. Some parents are so strict that they will never give their children the opportunity to say, Daddy, this is how I feel.
Yes, because in that story you shared before we went on the short break, right?
Yes,
That girl, she, if she had confided in her parents, I don't think it would have gone
that is
this
if she had
extent.
the opportunity to.
Yes.
She was not given the opportunity. And then if you can't permit your children to tell you how they feel, what is happening around them, it will cause damage.
Mm.
Now, something happened between I and my daughter yesterday. She was going to school and she forgot her food in the car I was taking her.
Mm.
And that car was going somewhere else.
Wow.
The car dropped her on the road. She had to stroll and enter school. And she didn't eat before going.
Wow.
So because we have good relationship, we rapport well, she couldn't call her mother. She has my number offered just like her mother's own. But she had to call me, knowing that I'm the only person that will run speed to understand how she feels. Not because the mother will not understand, but the mother will want to abuse her first. And, she didn't want that
Mm.
because she already understood that she has made a mistake
Yeah.
and she needed a fast response.
Someone who won't judge her.
Yes, even if I told her, forget about food, the one you forgot there in the car, that's your food for the day. But she knew inside her, even if the driver, the school driver who called me said she was crying, I was not there. But I know that's the pattern through which she had to get what she needed. I have to transfer money to the driver to get her food. When she came back yesterday, said, Daddy, if you didn't send that money, it would have been disastrous. So while my wife was working, he just said, don't tell mommy anything. Not because the mother was not aware, because we were together when the call came. She didn't say anything, but she also knew that I will not ignore it. I must give it a solution. So we as parents had to learn to give our children, both the boys and the girls. And one of the reasons why some people don't give their children the opportunity to air out their burden is that the worst thing you could do in a home is not loving your female children, liking only the male, or you like only the female and you don't like the male. And as a result of that, you don't allow this gender to come close to you. The other ones are good, the other ones are not good. This one is mommy's own, the other one is daddy's own. That's the worst thing you can allow to happen in your home. Give them the freedom to air out. Just like my daughter, my sons will always, even to the least, I have 4. They will always come and lie down on my laps and say, Daddy, this was what happened in the school. This one had pain. I say, You played. He said, yes. And I fell down on this side when I was playing. But there is a way I will exercise harshness. They will hide it and create more problems for me
Run away
tomorrow.
from you.
Yes. So we have to give our children the opportunity and don't always be harsh whenever a child says daddy and you feel he's calling you for money. It's the wrong notion. Daddy. You know, say, what? Don't tell me anything, get away. No. What else will he tell me? Is it not money? Money, money, money. Allow that child to talk. If it is money, you are the reason why they're existing.
There's
Take care of
problem.
them.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, now moving on, let's talk about the church. Like we said earlier, the church has a really huge role to play. And when I'm talking about the church, I'm not talking about the building. I'm talking about
The
the
individuals
persons, yes, the individuals there. Now, individuals in the church are quick to judge the child of the pastor. All this backlash we see both on the internet and the rest, is coming from the people, the individuals in the church, mostly
Yes.
from them. We cannot, like, it cannot be, there is no way to shy away from it. Yes, I know this, because personally, a particular child in the church, right, was putting on a type of dressing. Right, okay, she was putting on trousers and with a kind of a long gown that was reaching on her knees, right? She's a little girl. So, and her father is a pastor. Now, a woman in the church said, why are you putting on this kind of thing? Don't you know your father is a pastor? Meanwhile, it's the parents, the mom, that wore that child that clothes to come to church, right? So why is it that the church is always judgmental of the children of pastors, especially when they make mistakes? They will tell you that, you're eating your father's money now. You are supposed to do that. You're supposed to do that. They will just paint one kind of scenario for them. This is not what we expect from you. But then, why?
One of the reasons is fault from the pastor and his wife. The question is, this child of the pastor who wore this trouser and long gown, is it the pattern of the church? If it is not the pattern of the church, it means that that woman and the child is wrong. If the members of that church talks anything, says anything against the child, they are right. With the reason that that was not the pattern of the church. If it is a church that doesn't put on trousers, and you as the pastor's wife wore your child trouser, your female child trouser and gown, what do you expect others to do? You have indirectly told them to begin to put on the same thing. And whatever they say about it lasts. So it is wise for parents or pastor and the wife to know actually the patterns of the church, follow it. Secondly, some of the pastors' children are arrogant.
Arrogant.
Yes, because their
Okay.
parents gave them that leverage. How can you tell your child at home that if anybody talks to you anyhow in the church, bounce on that person? This is your parents' church. So what do you expect? Automatically, that child will grow with that notion. And do you think that the child will also respect you tomorrow?
No,
That child cannot respect
never,
you, and the child can quit.
never.
I know of a man of God, I grew under him. His son, though he had only two sons,
Yeah.
he was nurturing them as if, he will be with them forever. Eventually, the second son had to adjust his life pattern and became more godly.
Okay.
But the first son, because he was given opportunity to do anyhow, you will see him, he plays piano and he will keep walking around. And if people say, why is this boy behaving like this? The father will say, am I paying him? What do you think? What are you expecting? Sometimes pastors, just like I said earlier, has nasty attitude. And if you're bad, your child or your children will be bad.
Yes. Yes.
I gave you an example of you having a maize you want to plant, and a part of it
It's bad.
is already bad. And it grows, trying to grow with stress. That seed can never give you exactly what you need, except you have planted a good corn. It is not possible for you to have wrong attitude, peradventure, what people are expecting. Look at this. Where pastors extort from their members. Everything is about, you pay this bill, pay the other bill, pay the other bill. Why won't the members of that church talk to the children?
Anyhow.
They may be there because of the gift the man has. It could be the only thing keeping them, not character. One thing is having a gift. Another thing is having a godly character that will preserve the gift.
Yeah.
Can I tell you that a man who has gift can expire eventually, but a man with character grows gradually to get to the height of testimony.
This thing concerning character, we will still have to discuss it again in another segment, because we got to know that highly blessed men of God, some of them have nasty characters. You understand? So, but we'll have to talk about this in another segment. So now, what is it that pastors can do differently to nurture their children?
It's simple. God has given us a template.
But they're not following the
Why?
template.
He said, train up a child in the way he should go. When he's old, he will not depart from it. If you train your child unrighteously, the child will grow with it and not depart. But you can train your child righteously. And because of friends that the child meets on the way, the child diverts the godliness. Don't worry. That child one day will remember the teaching. Just like the scripture told us even in Deuteronomy chapter 6, it says, bond the word of God around your neck. Through it, let it be part of you. When a child is nurtured in godliness, if he's falling, he cannot fall totally. One day you will gather his pieces.
Yes, wonderful. Okay, so now let's talk about this. Should be our random question now. The prodigal son. Like we said earlier, born in the church, lost in the world. So now, how do these children who have lost their way in the world retrace back their steps back to their foundation? What should they do?
What they have to do is, number one, understand who you are.
Okay.
Because if you don't understand who you are, you cannot recover. You must understand the son of who you are. It will enable you to retrace your way. The prodigal son, that was what helped him. He realized himself and went back to ask for mercy. God is always there. See, let me tell you, any pastor whose child is ungodly can never sleep. He can never have rest. Even if that child comes back at an odd time, there is room for acceptance.
Wow.
It is just about realizing who you are.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank
It
you.
has been an inspiring session with you, and I've gone to learn a lot, from what shared what people are passing through, and it's really interactive and really opening up, an eye opener too.
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir, for coming. We really appreciate. So, my people, you all have heard from our Reverend Elijah Ankaro, and all he has said. And I hope you all put this into practice. You understand? Please, pastors out there, look at your child. The lifestyle they are living right now is not what they want to live. Don't push them away from the foundation indirectly. because you may be too focused on the congregation and forgetting about the people in the house with you, which is very, very bad. Like he has said earlier, train up a child in the way he or she should go, and when the child grows, he or she will not depart from it. So, my people, do well to check out this episode on our YouTube channel. You can check it out on our YouTube channel, and follow us on our TikTok handles, on our Facebook, Instagram, and you can drop your comments there. I will do well to respond to you. So if you have lost your way, please retrace yourself back to your foundation, and
Yes.
the good Lord will bless you. This is Serenity TV, and I am your host, Goodness Shisum. Please stay blessed out there. We love you. Bye.